The easier something is to see, the easier it is to imitate. And so this has clear implications for helping our products and our services catch on, right? What we need to do is make the private public. We need to make it easier for people to see that other customers, that other consumers like what we have to offer. If you think about it, many choices are private or unobservable. What toothpaste someone uses, for example, or where they donate money. Most of their peers have no idea what toothpaste you use. Why? Because it's in your house, in the cupboard, in the bathroom. Very hard to see. And the harder it is to see it, the harder it is to use that as a signal of information for what you to do. Whereas your car is easy to see. Your neighbor buys a new car, it turns out you're about 10% more likely to buy a new car. Why? Because you can see what they're doing. Easier to see, easier to imitate. And so we need to make the private public. Many of our organizations may have many customers or consumers that like us, that use our product or use our service. But if other people don't know how many out there like us and use us, they can't use that as a signal of information. Think back, for example, to the portable CD player. Remember, right between tapes and now digital music, there were CDs, and you used to have to run almost like you were carrying a pizza. It was a dark time in the history of music. You had to go to Tower Records and pay $18 for a whole album that you might not have wanted. You couldn't get singles. It was a difficult time. And so there was a new product that came out called the digital music player. And it seemed like it might be good, but it was very expensive. And so at the time, think back to those ideas of inertia that we talked about, of changing customer behavior. What was the challenge? Well, many people were using a portable CD player, and they didn't love it, but they at least knew what it was. And there was this new technology, the digital music player, that was supposed to be better, but it was unclear. It was very expensive, around $450 or $500, and the costs were all up front, whereas the benefits were later and uncertain. And so how could companies change the tables? How could companies fight inertia and get behavior change to happen? How could they influence their customers to drive sales? Well, at the time, everyone had black headphones. Whether you had a Sony product or a Kobe product or a Microsoft product, everyone had black headphones. And then Apple did something really simple. They came out with white headphones. And I remember the first time I saw those white headphones, I went, what are those? Why does that person have white headphones? And they told me that they were using an iPod, and I thought it was interesting. And then you hear about it again and again, and you see a couple more people using white headphones, and a couple more on the subway, and a couple more on the train, and a couple more on the plane, and suddenly you realize that a lot of people are using white headphones. And if a lot of people are doing it, it must be pretty good. Fighting that inertia, tipping that scale, moving more people to realize the upside of it. Because using that social proof, easier to see, easier to imitate.